In this lesson, we will animate the fueling line separating from the ship. So let's go ahead and get started by heading over to our show menu. We'll show joints and IKs. Alright, great. So now we just need to decide when we would like the hose to separate. Keep in mind in the next section you'll have gas emit from our hose, so we'll want to add follow through in a way that it almost seems as if the gas is affecting the hose's behavior. So this is going to be neat, and we'll also learn in this lesson how to quickly add follow through an overlapping action in FK. So let's first decide again when the hose should separate. That's around the time when the ship falls. So let's go ahead and have that happen between 1:14 and 1:15. So on 1:14 we'll have the line still attached, and with the IK handle selected, let me go ahead and show you a tool you can use to lock down your IK and FK system so you have a smooth blend. So underneath the animate menu we'll find IK/FK keys, and we'll choose set IK/FK key at the top. So notice that keys everything on the IK handle. That also keys all rotate channels on your FK chain. What it also does is it adds an attribute to keep track of your IK blend. So when this is set to 1, notice of course we're in IK mode, but once we set this to 0, we're now ready to animate an FK. However, we cannot change that value from here. Again, this is just a way to keep track of it. To access that, we'd need to select the IK handle, and you'll find it all the way at the bottom. It's the last channel. Alright, so now let's go to 1:15, just one frame after, and we'll set another IK/FK key. And now we'll set our value, our IK value, to 0. So watch this. What we see now is, yes, the hose will still be connected to the ship, and you'll also see a snapshot of our FK chain when it separates. And then when we get past 1:15, you'll see that the hose no longer follows. So we're now ready to add some FK rotation. Let's go ahead and select our root bone, the top. We can now right-click and choose Select Hierarchy to grab all of our joints. In the outliner, let's go ahead and expand our joint hierarchy. I'll just hold down the Shift key and click to expand to view everything in this hierarchy, and we'll deselect our effector by control-clicking it. The effector is what connects the IK handle and the joint chain in this IK system. Alright, so once that's been deselected, I'll also deselect the very end joint, as that will do nothing for us. This joint right at the very tip. Alright, so we're ready to add some rotation. So let's go ahead and have the base movement down first, and then we'll learn how to add follow through. So once it separates, we'll want the hose to rotate up. So I'll go to the rotate tool, and I'll just start to have this rotate up in the Z-axis. And then we can go to the very end of the hose and have a few of these joints rotate up, again in the Z-axis. So there's our separation. Great. So now we'll want this to start to sway around a bit. So it needs to act as if it's affected by the gas and also wind. So let's say we go a few frames after this, let's say on about frame 1:44, and we'll rotate in the opposite direction in the Z-axis, and we could also add some twisting in the Y-axis and X-axis. Let's go ahead and see how that looks. Nice. And then if you want to, you can go in and adjust a few other bone objects to get a better line of action. So you can add more curvature by just rotating a few of those end bones up. Great. Going back to the entire chain, again, selecting the root, right-clicking and choosing Select Hierarchy, deselecting the two end objects. We can now have it rotate forward again. So let's go a few more frames. It's about 172. We'll have it rotate forward in the z-axis. Let's go ahead and take a look at the x-axis, maybe add some twisting here, and then the y-axis. Okay, great. See how that looks? Beautiful. Then I might again go to a few end joints here, maybe kind of change the curvature just slightly. I think actually that will work just fine. So again, grabbing our root, let's go ahead and select everything, deselect the last two objects. We'll create another keyframe on about frame, let's say 194, where we have it rotate back again. But we don't want it to have it just sway back and forth in a way that looks very unnatural. All right, so we do want to change up our pose as it does its sway. So as we take a look at this, when it sways back and then forward again and then back, I might change up 194 in the z-axis, maybe bringing it down so it doesn't rotate as far back. Great. And then on 200, we'll add a slight change. So there's still movement all the way to the end, but there's not much at all. Okay, let's see how this looks when we hit play. Great, so that looks nice. So at this point, I'm going to show you how to now add follow through. So it's just a matter of offsetting each of our keys here. So we'll head over to our graph editor. And what we could do is deselect our root joint, just control clicking it in Maya. And now, framing the rest of our keys, let's go ahead and grab all of the keys from our first pose on 124. And we'll just go ahead and delay one frame. So we'll hold down Shift and drag down just one frame over to our right. Now it's just a matter of going to the next joint. Again, we'll deselect, go to the next, and offset our keys. We'll go to the next. That's basically it, just deselecting the next one, offsetting a few frames. So again, I'm just offsetting one frame, and then you can change up your rhythm a bit. So when we get to the next joint, you might consider offsetting this one 2 frames. And then the next one frame, and we'll do 1 frame for the rest of these. Okay, so there's the last one. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look. What you'll see is that now when we hit play, we have some very nice follow through and overlapping action. That is very beautiful, and it hardly took any time. So the main thing to take from this is to set your base motion down and then add your offsets once you're sold on the extreme poses. Great. Well, we have animated our fueling line, so we have this really nice separation. And now what we can do is move on to the next lesson where we'll animate our camera, and then following that we can finalize the scene, looking for any areas that we might want to tweak before we call the project finished. So we're just about there.